Hi everyone, David Aragona and Mike Beer here taking a look at the other stakes race at Aqueduct this Sunday. Race 7 is the Forever Together to go along with the Sunday race of the day that Mike and I also did a video for, the Grade 3 Pebbles. Like this one, not a large field drawn for the turf. There are 10 entered, but 3 of them are MTOs, so 7 in the main body going on the turf. And among those, I think we're going to have a clearly defined favorite in the number 7, Oversubscribed, who is coming off a pretty long layoff, but has form from last year that makes her squarely the one to beat.
It's all about, how ready she is here off of a really long layoff, because I got to believe that Chad Brown, even if this is the race he had picked out for David to finally get her started as a 4-year-old, he's got to be pretty happy with the way this field shook out for her.
Yeah, she's the kind of horse where if she didn't have that layoff on the way in, I'd have her odds on probably 3 to 5 on the morning line. Really, the only concern is whether or not she's able to run a top race coming off that, over 12-month layoff, having not competed since November 8th of 2024. Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this Forever Together. And like Oversubscribed doesn't have that much early speed, but she did show through her 3-year-old season. She was able to get a little bit closer in a few of her races, particularly the last 2. So I wonder where Manny Franco is going to place her from this outside post position, because there is a little bit of speed in here coming from horses like the number 4 Malley Moo and the number 5 Spinning Colors.
Yeah, it feels like the race could stretch out a little bit early in this race, and that would certainly help Oversubscribe to at least get a position maybe somewhere in mid-pack. It'll be interesting to see how they ride Malley Moo, because they don't always get aggressive with her, but when they do, she tends to run pretty well. So, and she is a stablemate, obviously, of Oversubscribe. So maybe they will get aggressive early here just to make sure this pace goes.
Well, everybody, before we get to the main players, make sure to hit that like button below this video. I was looking up some of our stats recently, and a lot of you are watching without hitting that like button. We don't like that. We put out all this content for free for you to enjoy. The least you can do is hit that like button below to let us know that you appreciate the content that we're producing on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. Let's go through this field from the rail out, Mike, beginning with the number 1, Miss Bonnie T, and she is going to be a big price of this race. She looks like maybe she was hustled in here to make it a 7-horse field, because she doesn't exactly fit against Stakes Company based on her recent form.
Yeah, she really doesn't. I mean, if you want to go all the way back to like 2021, when it felt like she had some potential for her original connections, that's fine. But I'm not doing that. She looks over her head here.
The number 2, Nicest Pie, has put together a pretty nice career. She's gone 5 for 18. She's won some races in Kentucky along the way, including, I think, a stakes here and there. Mike, she does seem like a horse who is probably a little bit better on the synthetic than turf. She's tried the grass 5 times. She's only hit the board in one of those races, a second-place finish going all the way back to the Penn Oaks in early 2024. She maybe hasn't had ideal trips in a few of her turf attempts since then, but even beyond the surface question, I think you also have to wonder if mile and a 16th is pushing her stamina just a little bit.
Yeah, that was maybe an even bigger concern for me. I'm with you that she's probably better on the all-weather surface anyway. But even, she's run a couple of races on turf that would at least give her a look here. So I'm not going to I'm not going to say that she can't run her race on the grass. I'm more worried that she doesn't seem like she really wants to go this far. She's just been better sprinting throughout her career.
The number 3, Sirona, is a horse who has only made 2 starts in North America since coming over from Europe for trainer Graham Motion. And Mike, she put together a pretty nice career overseas. I mean, she was hardly disgraced in the Group 1 Falmouth going back to the summer of 2024 behind horses like Porta Fortuna. She finished 4th, a close 4th, within a length behind Crimson Advocate, a Group 2 winner overseas back in June at Epsom this year. So she's got credentials coming in from Europe, and she ran pretty well in her U.S. debut at Laurel. She was beaten by stablemate No-Show Sammy Joe. I know we talked about her in the Long Island last week. I think you felt that No-Show Sammy Joe ran the better race on that day, but Sirona made it close, and I wonder if maybe she just didn't appreciate going as far as 1 mile and 3/8 last time in the weigh-up.
That's going to be my take on her too, especially when you start, because you mentioned she has really solid form overseas. And when you start looking at those races, I mean, they basically just treated her like a miler, like a stone miler. They would never stretch her out over there. Since she's gotten over here, she's been 9 and 11 furlongs in her 2 races. I thought she ran fine in the all along 2 starts back. No-Show Sammy Joe to me was better than her, and it probably wasn't as close as the final margin suggests, but this horse ran fine in that race. And then last time she steadied out of the gate. She wound up way back off the pace, and it did seem like maybe that distance was a little too far for her. She just didn't really do any running in that race. I love her turning back for the spot.
The number 4, Malley Moo, is a horse who's been struggling to get back to the winner's circle over the past couple of seasons, ever since her upset win in the 2023 Penn Oak. So it's been over 2 years since she's won a race. And Mike, she cycled through some pretty nice barns. I mean, she was with Todd Pletcher for a while. She was in the Christophe Clement stable. Now she's with Chad Brown. So it bothers me, given the barns that she's gone through, that she's still not winning races. We'll take a look at the most recent of her runs, where she finished second. And I think she had the opportunity to win here. Got a very good trip up towards the front end, setting a moderate pace, just couldn't quite seal the deal. And it's kind of been the story of her past 2 seasons.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you on that. I mean, I feel like she's run 3 times for Chad Brown. I would say that it looks like she hasn't improved at all. Maybe she's improved a little bit, I would say, David, because I feel like in 2 of her 3 starts for Chad, I could argue that maybe things didn't work out perfectly for her, certainly off the layoff at Saratoga race. I'm not suggesting that she was necessarily going to win, but she did get sort of stuck in behind horses on the final turn. The 1-2 finishers got onto the outside. They got the jump on her. I actually thought she ran pretty well that day. The Kentucky Downs race, I guess I don't care that much about it. I didn't think she ran great there. And then last time, I'm kind of with you. I mean, the pace wasn't fast. She was sort of taking pressure up there for a little while, though, and the winner just sat a perfect trip right on her back, waiting for a time to strike. So maybe she was best last time, but it's still a race she easily could have won.
The number 5, Spinning Colors, is the one that will probably keep Malley Moo company up on the front end, because Spinning Colors runs all of her best races lately when she goes to the lead. That's the running style that she's used to success through the summertime, when she ran some big speed figures up in Saratoga. She placed in races like the De La Rose and the Yaddo after winning the Mount Vernon in an upset going back to June of this year. I think the big concern with her, Mike, are the 2 races since coming back to Aqueduct. They've been a little bit lackluster. She's gotten pretty good trips on both occasions and just hasn't been able to see it out.
Yeah, I think it's very fair to question her last 2 starts anyway, and we'll see if she can bounce back in this race. I guess she's dangerous if she makes the lead in here, because she has shown that she can run a pretty big race when she gets comfortable up front. I've never really looked at her like an open stakes kind of horse, David, but it's not like this is the strongest field in the world.
The number 6, Flowers for Me, did try an open stakes on this circuit in the Athenia 2 starts back in the middle of September. Went off at a gigantic price that day, and she was only beaten 3 1/4 lengths, Mike. But I think that's the nature of turf racing, where margins can get a little bit compressed, especially when the paces aren't that fast, because it never really looked like Flowers for Me was going to be competitive with that field. And her last race is a little hard to get past for me, because she was beaten by a horse at Laurel who just seems like she's inferior to this group.
Exactly. And this horse, I thought Flowers for Me got an overall really good trip in that race last time, and she was only second best. You're right, too. The Athenia, it just feels like one of those suck up races on turf there, where she gets the 87 in a race where never looked like she was going to win, and she never even passed anybody through the stretch while she was racing on. I just feel like that's sort of an outlier figure, and her overall form just doesn't make her nearly good enough.
And then rounding up this field on the outside is the horse to beat, the number 7, Oversubscribed. She's coming back off a layoff of over a year. She actually competed on Pebbles Day last year, and then we ran it, I think, a week earlier on November 8th of 2024. Now she's running 1 year and 8 days later in 2025. We'll take a look at the most recent race when she was second in that Pebbles. And Mike, I liked the effort here because she didn't have position early on. She had to make a subtle backstretch move, Flavian did, to get her into a position to be a little bit closer to the leaders, because this wasn't a race that looked like it featured a whole lot of pace. But she has dead aim on the winner here. Couldn't quite make up much ground on her in the late stages. Overall, it was a decent effort. She got back on track after disappointing in the Grade 1 try prior to that at Keeneland. And if she gets back to her 3-year-old form, or even improves on it as a 4-year-old, she's going to be too tough for this group.
Yeah, that's exactly how it's the easy way to look at the race. I mean, I feel like her races, like I don't care about the Grade 1 necessarily. They got a little more aggressive with her there, but the races surrounding it, the 2 Grade 3s, she ran fine in both of them. I didn't think she ran great either time, but she ran fine in both of those races. Her only win last year was in that Wild Applause, where they just went a wicked pace and she sat way back off of it and came running. So I don't know. I'm not sure how good she is, David, but you cannot argue with this spot for her on the way back. If she's close to ready, she's probably going to beat these horses.
Well, let's go right to our picks for this Forever Together. And I think, Mike, are in agreement once again, as we were in the Pebbles earlier on this card. Oversubscribed. She's the horse to beat. She's going to take a lot of money in this race. You do have the layoff to contend with, and at least the number 3, Sirona. She's got some recency, and she's got the back class.
Exactly. There's enough to like about her in here. She's not going to be the favorite, most likely, because Fully Subscribed will take all the money in here. So that just made it an easy call for me to take her.
Same exacta for Mike and me here. 3-7 Sirona over Oversubscribed in race 7 at Aqueduct on Sunday. The Forever Together. Good luck if you're playing the races later this weekend.